is College Football Saturday on CBS 42, presented by Pepsi.
Welcome back to the SEC Championship game, to the Auburn Tigers. It's good to have you back in Atlanta, and it's good to have you, the viewers, on College Football Saturday. Chris Priest, Jim Dunaway, Simone Eli. Auburn 26, Alabama 14.
Boy, that looks familiar, right? Them rushing the field. They're not going to keep them off the field tonight. Part two.
Part two. For the second time in 3 weeks, Auburn beats a top-ranked team. And by the way, guys, it's their two rivals. Gus Malzahn with a brand-new offensive coordinator and a brand-new quarterback gets it done. Unbelievable.
And Toomer's corner is absolutely bonkers. We got a camera out there right now. We're going to try to have a live report from the corner at Toomer's corner. Again, glad to have you with us here on the sports set. It's getting a little crazy behind us. News on the other side. We'll get to them soon. Gus Malzahn finishing up his press conference right now. We'll take a live.
I think he's fine.
One more, Coach.
Gus, at some point, you're going to be in a position to play for the national championship with 2 losses. Should that even enter the public's consciousness now, the way you guys are playing?
I mean, of course, we got to win next week,
Exactly.
you know, and that's going to be a handful. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, you know, them experts got it figured out. I don't know anybody else played 2 number 1 teams and a number 2 team and put our schedule up against anybody. Matter of fact, you probably get 2 teams and you could combine it, probably close.
All right, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Again, that is the end of Gus Malzahn's press conference. We'll play the entire thing for you in full a little bit later on in the program. But welcome back in here. Chris Priest, Jim Dunaway, and Simone Eli. First impression, Jim, is Auburn deserved this game because every way you look at it, they were the dominant team.
Yeah, they were the dominant team. The numbers show that. But for 2 guys, you knew what you were going to get from Kerryon Johnson, the workhorse. But from 2 guys, Jarrett Stidham, and then another Davis, like the last time Alabama was here in 2013 and got beat in a number 1 situation. Another Davis ends up having a big night.
Yeah, receiver Ryan Davis, 11 receptions for 139 yards. He was absolutely fantastic. He and Stidham connected completely great, and Stidham was great on the ground as well. Scrambled when need be, got into the end zone on his feet. I mean, he was a true leader of this offense all around. I was very impressed with Stidham tonight.
We have a lot to talk about, but first, Nick Saban finished his press conference moments ago. We'll take that right now in full.
I'm still very proud of what this team has been able to accomplish this year and winning 11 games. I don't think we played our best game today, but you got to give a lot of credit to Auburn. They played very well. I think one of the biggest differences in the game was 3rd down. We could not get off the field on 3rd down. That allowed them to extend drives and led to several scoring opportunities for them. We didn't do a very good job on 3rd down, so we didn't sustain drives because of that, and that affects time of possession and a whole lot of other things. So that was probably the biggest difference in the game. This team has overcome a lot of adversity this year. And I'm very pleased and proud of the way they performed all year long. I don't think we played our best today, and I'm certainly responsible for that. And I think all of us in the organization will learn from what we can do better in the future. So I don't think one game defines who you are. It certainly doesn't define this team for who they are. And you know, again, I'm very proud of what they were able to accomplish. I'm sorry that I could not do a better job as a coach and a leader to help them play better in this game so they would have an opportunity to play in the SEC championship game. 5 or 6 were bad calls because they didn't work.
That's all the time we got, guys. Thanks, Coach.
So that's the first time we've heard from Nick Saban after a loss in the regular season in 31 games. That goes back to September of 2015. And he was very mellow, didn't give any blame to anybody but himself, and I think he knew that offense got outmatched.
Yeah, that was one of the key points in the game was the ability to throw the football. They were relying so much, except for that first drive in the second half, on Jalen Hurts, either Jalen running or Jalen throwing. That first drive in the second half, Alabama fans will say, why did we not see more of that? And that's when you get questions about the play call.
Yeah, and a huge issue. I mean, 0 for 6 in the first 6 third down conversions, and they finished 3 of 11. I mean, that's not going to get it done, absolutely. But you heard Nick Saban, of course, asked about the playoffs. and his response is kind of trying to make a case for why his team belongs in the playoffs. I mean, the best win they have right now is probably LSU, but of course, in his situation, all you can do is now plead with the committee and hope that you're going to be in.
Yeah, but don't misunderstand what he's saying. He's not saying instead of Auburn.
Yeah,
correct,
He's saying
correct,
us
correct.
too.
We'd love to be
Yes.
four.
Yeah, we'd love to be four, but not instead of Auburn.
Correct.
Maybe a turning point of the game was our play of the game. It came in the third quarter, a special teams botch for Alabama.
Bobbled snap. Now J.K. Scott trying to throw it.
It's a 6-point game with 15 minutes to go, and Alabama trying to put points on the board. J.K. Scott had a bad muff on his hold. It wasn't his fault. And then, man, Auburn goes right back and scores in the next possession right down the field and had the final score of the game, and that really seized the momentum for them.
Yeah, huge momentum shift there, and when you're on the road, it's things like that will absolutely kill you. You're down 60, an opportunity to cut it to 3. They couldn't get it done, and like I said, on the road in Jordan-Hare Stadium, it was rocking from that point on. The entire fourth quarter was Auburn's game.
And what set that up was the pressure Auburn was able to get on Jalen Hurts all day long.
2 sacks for Auburn. We want to show you the entire game, start to finish, how they got there. Alabama goes in a 4.5-point favorite. The way Auburn played against Georgia, though, you had no idea what to expect going in. And Auburn, man, they look sharp right off the gate, running and throwing. Kerryon doing his best, Tim Tebow.
What a great play call there, because you thought Kerryon was going to keep it and find the end zone. Great pass.
Gary Danielson called that on the broadcast, by the way. So Auburn's up 7-0 early. And Jalen Hurts coughed up the football. Derek Brown did an excellent job stripping him there.
Yeah, only his second turnover on the entire season. I mean, I'm not sure if he was rattled a little bit, but just great Auburn defense like we've seen all year.
But Auburn could not capitalize. You thought this may have been a huge play in the game if Auburn's trying to get points. They're in the red zone. Stidham fumbles, doesn't get it back. Alabama gets the ball, and then Hurts. This play, Jim, really pretty to Jerry Jeudy.
I was right there in that end zone, and I was wondering, is that a push-off or not?
It is.
A little bit.
No flag, so I guess it wasn't a push-off. A good play by a moxie freshman.
Defensive back not looking for the ball, and that's why it wasn't a push-off.
We talked a lot about Daniel Carlson making field goals in this game, and he was clutch early. Auburn took the lead right back. They're up 10-7. But then in the third quarter, you're wondering, okay, Bama's offensive line, they're starting to churn, Jim, and you think, well, Bama's game could be won here.
5 plays, 79 yards. Alabama took the lead, but Auburn comes back and answers with a field goal, and then that score there. After Kerryon had hurt his shoulder, he still punched it in with a hurt shoulder.
So this is the play of the game right here. It's still a one-score game. If Alabama can somehow get points on the board, this would be a completely different ball game. It'd be a 3-point game instead of Auburn. Stidham really used his legs on the entire drive here. Really gutsy. Cam Martin had a couple of runs, and then here's the Stidham touchdown. Wow.
Look at this guy running the football, Jarrett Stidham, like he's built to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he ran the ball 12 times for 51 yards. Doesn't seem like a ton, but for a guy who doesn't really run the ball very often, that's actually very steady numbers.
Opportunistic is the word you're looking for there. When they needed to run, he ran it.
Yes.
This is pretty much the epitome of what happened to Alabama all game long. Jalen Hurts just had nothing going on for him. Receivers weren't open. The DBs were fantastic for Auburn, and Hurts looked really clueless back there.
He really did, and I'll say it again, he never had a solid pocket to stand in all day long. He was having to move out of that pocket on the run. He's not really great standing in the pocket anyway, but today he couldn't because Auburn forced him to be on the run and on the hurry all day long. You see a happy Gus Malzahn there.
Yep.
And this team, where they've come from the second half of LSU, the doldrums of Mercer, the second half of LSU, to be where they are, where right now they're 3 wins away from a national championship, that's pretty amazing.
I think it goes just to show you what a fluke that second half was against LSU. The last really 20 minutes of that game, Auburn blew it, but guess what? Doesn't matter. You're still going to Atlanta for the SEC title game. And Jeff Holland, he's been an emerging leader. We talked with him after the game.
Jeff, you guys just beat Alabama. How's it feel?
I mean, we made history. Two number 1 teams in 3 weeks. That's history, baby. Me and my brothers work hard. Week in, week out, baby. Week in, week out. We made a statement, baby. We made history. We made history.
How far has this team come from the LSU game until now?
I mean, we came a long way. We just took it week by week. We say we're going to win 5 in a row. We had to win the first one. We had to win the second one. We had to win the third one. We had to win the fourth one. Then look what we did. We won the 5.
How soon do you start thinking about Georgia again?
We gotta get the stuff cleaned up from this today. We're gonna go to practice tomorrow. You know, we're gonna get the stuff fixed we need to fix, and we're gonna just go back to work.
All right, congratulations, Jeff.
You know what Jeff Holland is? He is a guy that you see usually for Alabama who steps up out of nowhere. He's been doing that all year long for Auburn. We've got so much more to get to here on College Football Saturday. Toomer's Corner is going to be rocking. We'll have a live report with Rachel Lundberg and Gus Malzahn's entire press conference.
Rachel's in there somewhere.
She's somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
10,000 strong. They're teepee, and we saw plenty of people with toilet paper.
Rachel!
There, Rachel.
We're here for you.
We need
Rachel, raise your hand.
We'll be right back.
Well, it was the 82nd Iron Bowl, and it went to none other than Gus Malzahn. There you see him and Nick Saban prior to the game, and just a few weeks ago I think everyone was calling for Gus's head. Then he comes and beats back-to-back #1 teams, and now Auburn's head to the SEC championship game.
Poor Arkansas.
Yeah,
poor Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas is a storyline. They won't Gus Malzahn. It's going to be hard to prime away. As Jay Jacobs said on our pregame show, Auburn has lost in a close one on the road at Clemson to defending national champs. They have beaten #1 Georgia. They have beaten #1 Alabama. That's a great resume. Here is Gus Malzahn talking after the game, after the big 26-14 win over Alabama.
Okay, extremely proud of our team. You know, we beat the second #1 team in 3 weeks. You know, that's a huge challenge, and our team did it. We had to win 5 in a row to get here. After the LSU game, we counted them down, and we took it 1 week at a time, and it's #5 tonight. We're the SEC West champs. I couldn't be prouder of our team. We're going to Atlanta playing for the SEC championship, which before the season, we put ourselves out there and we said that's our goal. And now we're 1 game away from that being a reality. Our crowd was unbelievable. 2 weeks in a row, our crowd helped us. And we talked about if we get the game to the 4th quarter, we're going to win the game. And we did that, and we're able to beat another #1 team. Really what stood out to me is our defense on 3rd down. I don't think they converted a 3rd down until the 4th quarter. Our defense was outstanding. That running back is really the quarterback, is really special. And, you know, they're a good team. And we talked about 3rd down offense. I mean, they're one of the best 3rd down defenses, and I think we were 9 for 18. We had some explosive plays. We caught him in man a few times and had some runaways. And just real proud of our team. And like I said, you know, I like where we're at, and excited for our team. Team, and put our schedule up against anybody. Matter of fact, you probably get 2 teams, and you could combine it, probably close.
Okay. That's a good point.
Yeah, you beat 2 #1 teams because you execute 9 of 18 on 3rd downs for Auburn. Just fantastic. You call the play and you execute the play.
Call the play and you execute the play. And I thought Chip Lindsey did a terrific job of calling plays all day long. Alabama guessing, taking chances on the outside, and they work it to the other side. Or Stidham with a draw play up the middle that no one was expecting. Chip did a great job of calling plays.
Absolutely, guys. But as we know, there are some concerns moving forward as Kerryon Johnson comes up with an injury. He actually just tweeted, and it said mood, and the GIF was Muhammad Ali putting his arms up. So maybe that's a good sign.
Yeah, and you see the injury right here. He got banged up a couple of times. Going for the end zone really started it. And then he pulled up. It looked like it was going to be a hamstring injury, maybe a groin, but it did turn out to be a shoulder injury is what Gus Malzahn said.
It is a shoulder injury, and you know Cam Martin got banged up a little later on, and Petway's on the shelf, could be back for next week. That's a concern going to play Georgia again, but it's a little too soon to start thinking about Georgia yet. We'll have time maybe in the second hour of this show to start thinking about Georgia.
We're with you for a very long time. And hey, the UAB Blazers, how about them going for a program record? 8 wins. They've never done it in the FBS. We'll get to them in a little bit. Chris Wrinkle live on the field. He talked to a whole bunch of players on the field.
Yeah, it's all empty right now. They're cleaning things up, but it was mass chaos. It took us about 20 minutes for a get from the Auburn end zone all the way to the Alabama end zone. People were celebrating. This was an absolute mob scene, and we talked to some of the players on the field. You saw Jeff Holland earlier, and you want to take a look at one of the things that decided this game. It was the passing attack. Jarrett Stidham, 240 yards through the air versus Alabama's only 74. Auburn was able to move the ball through the air when Alabama shut down the run game, and that was the difference in this one. We talked to wide receiver Darius Slayton on the field.
You just beat Alabama. How's it feel?
This is a great atmosphere. My fans did a great job tonight. This is an amazing feeling right now. I'm just excited. I'm happy.
Where were you guys after that LSU loss? Did you think you'd be able to get here?
You always knew we just had to stay down, work hard. Our coaches always pushed being urgent and playing hard and staying true to the plan, and that's what we did, and that's what got us to where we're at.
How long are you going to enjoy this one before you think of the SEC championship?
I'm enjoying this one at least for the night, and we'll get on to that on Monday.
Darius Staten, congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
So you hear him there, very happy guy. And, you know, the loss to LSU in that second half reminds me of a couple years ago when Alabama lost to Ole Miss in a game that was just as fluky and didn't really seem like it was real. And Ole Miss and Alabama was motivated by that, and they were able to go on to win the national championship. Since that loss at LSU, this has been a different Auburn Tigers team, and they're rolling in the SEC championship, guys.
The only thing missing was Gus saying we were dead and gone. Gone. Auburn now going back to the SEC title game for the first time since 2013. We all thought the UAB Blazers were dead and gone, but JK, they're not, because they've got a chance for a program record in the FBS for wins in 1 year. We'll talk about the Blazers coming up, and the quarterback comparison. Safe to say that Jarrett Stidham won it tonight for Auburn, but this guy's guts all around. We're going to talk to the quarterback coming up after this as we roll on college football Saturday. I don't think anybody's going to be going to bed anytime soon in Auburn, Alabama. Pretty safe to say. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into College Football Saturday. When I moved to the South, I was told that cotton is southern snow, but here in Auburn, it's actually toilet paper. This is the southern snow here in Auburn, and this is what Toomer's Corner looks like right now after a huge win over Alabama. All right, back in Birmingham today, UAB finishing up their regular season at home, looking for a win to finish the season undefeated at Legion Field. Let's head to the highlights. A.J. Erdley, Blazers quarterback, has been fantastic all season. He was again today. 15 of 25 on the day, 2 touchdowns. The Blazers went into halftime up 14-7, and they would finish with a huge win, 28-7 over UTEP to finish the season with 8 wins. They were predicted to have just 3 coming into their first year back after the big shutout. Here is Bill Clark after the game.
It's been kind of fun that we've been able to kind of lay in the weeds, and that started changing, you know, somewhere in there in the middle of the year where people start figuring out maybe we're a little better than they think we are. But that was kind of a motivator for us, you know. And what would people do? I mean, you know, we didn't have a program. So I told the players they're going to look back soon and for sure someday and say, wow, what you accomplished.
Well, I'm sitting here and saying, wow, look at what they accomplished. 8 wins, unbelievable. Jim, I'm not sure what you predicted earlier in the season, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't 8.
5 with a chance to win 6 and not getting there. 30 for 30s. Maybe a Disney movie. That's what I see happening 10 years from now.
The bowl locations are endless. They can go to Boca Raton. They can go to St. Petersburg, the Bahamas.
Anywhere but Birmingham.
Really?
This team deserves to travel.
And I deserve to travel with them, especially if we're going to Hawaii.
Okay.
They're going somewhere, and I think that's all they care about is getting to a bowl and extra practice. 15 of them means everything.
Yep. All right, speaking of teams looking to go somewhere, Samford in the FCS playoffs, round 1 today against Kennesaw State. And the Bulldogs, they would struggle. They've done well. Devlin Hodges all year in the passing game today. He was just 39 of 66 for about 400 yards, however. But Samford is going to go down 28-17, and that is the final there. All right, still ahead, we are breaking down the top quarterback here in the Iron Bowl. Was it Jalen Hurts? Was it Jarrett Stidham? I think we got that answer. Jarrett Stidham, incredible today in the air, on the ground. We'll have more from him. And still ahead as well, in the pregame, prior to the Iron Bowl, this guy, Charles Barkley, hey, he got a statue outside Jordan-Hare Stadium here from Barkley ahead on College Football Saturday.
Big statue.
When Jarrett Stidham came down to the Plains over the summer, there were a lot of fans who thought this guy could be the quarterback to lead Auburn to the college football playoff. Then there were some doubters. There's some fans behind us right now. I'm pretty safe to say that they absolutely love Jarrett Stidham right now. Their quarterback number 8. They would never like to have anybody else as their guy. And you could talk about the passing.
Jarrett Stidham? Jarrett Stidham? Yeah, these little kids just back from tumors, they love them some Jarrett Stidham, right? They do.
You can talk about his passing all you want all night. The fact that he runs the ball 12 times and has the moxie to not only do that, had that touchdown that really clinched it. It was just like channeling his inner, I'm going to make plays, and there's no matter what you want to do, Bama, nothing you can do about it.
It really proved his quarterback IQ, and I think everyone was kind of waiting to see that because he showed flashes of it, but he was completely consistent throughout the entire game. He knew when to throw it, he knew when to run it, including that fantastic rushing touchdown.
But you can be a great quarterback without a great receiver and some great play calls. Ryan Davis today could not be covered by anybody in Alabama's secondary. When they needed a play, Ryan Davis was open all day long. That made it easy for Jarrett.
Alabama's got a vaunted front seven. Jarrett Stidham missed 7 passes in the game. That's how efficient he's been at quarterback all year long. He's been tops in the SEC in efficiency. Chris Wrinkle's on the field. He's got more interviews with those players from the locker room.
Well, guys, I want to show you how nuts things got here after the final whistle. Check this out. These are the hedges that line around Jordan-Hare Stadium. They're meant to keep people out. They did not do their jobs. People were taking these as souvenirs, not just the ones going onto the field. Look at the ones in the stands. They are absolutely torn apart. Now, if you looked at these ahead of the game, there were still remnants of that 2013 kick 6. They were still growing back from that. It's going to take a few years for them to grow back for this one. But you mentioned it. Jarrett Stidham, not just his ability to throw the football, but his ability to run. Even when Alabama was getting pressure on him where everyone was covered, he was able to take off 60 yards rushing on 12 attempts, and that huge fourth quarter touchdown that pretty much sealed the deal. He even trucked a couple defenders on his way in for that touchdown. So Jarrett Stidham was a big factor in this game. You could say he was the X factor for the Auburn Tigers, and here he is after the game.
This is a special day for the Auburn Tigers, I think. It was a lot of fun, to say the least.
I mean, we talked about this 2 weeks ago. I mean, you played against the #1 team, beat them, Georgia. The fans, I mean, again tonight, Jared, I mean, what was it like? I mean, these fans were crazy. I mean, they had to make a difference tonight.
Yeah, no, I mean, this was my first Iron Bowl, so I didn't really know what to expect. We got off the bus for Tiger Walk, and I mean, it was nuts. But I mean, hats off to our fans. I mean, they're the rowdiest I've ever seen. So it was a great atmosphere, and I think the crowd was definitely a big part of it.
Now check out those shrubs, absolutely destroyed. There's a video out there of when the students were coming on. Some people got stuck in them, and I want to say, the ones that stormed the field, these shrubs, they got some points to them. That's got to hurt trying to come through those things. So everyone who was storming the field tonight, they earned their way onto Jordan-Hare's field, guys.
Hey, earlier I said that it felt like 2013. Now it really looks like 2013. That's
really
exactly
does.
how it looked.
The only way Jarrett Stidham could be higher on anybody's list right now if he gets his gardening equipment out and goes and fixes those bushes for their games coming up next year. Chris, will get back to you in a little bit. Stidham gets plenty of help from his offense. Kerryon Johnson, Ryan Davis. The defense for Auburn, you may call them the MVP of the game because they were relentless on Jalen Hurts. And seniors like Trey Matthews feel like that they've been here forever. Getting a win like this, it means everything to them.
Yeah, that was big time, man. Got to hit the big guys low because Bo is a load, and we definitely watched tape on him and knew we had to get down on his legs. So that was a great stop by that guy.
What point did you feel like you guys had him?
Fourth quarter. I mean, third quarter. I don't really want to just say it because I don't want to be, arrogant or nothing like that. But, I mean, we kind of knew we had him around the third quarter, though. See it in our eyes. We were playing fast and physical. I mean, this is our home, too, though, so we don't really lose at Jordan-Hare too much.
6 weeks ago.
That's Trey Matthews right there, and I will tell you, I was on the sideline at one point in the game, second half, third quarter. He comes off the field really early in that Alabama drive where they scored a touchdown, and he was in pain and had to go back out and play with pain. Another one of those Auburn Tigers that gutted it out today, playing a little hurt.
Senior leadership wins the Iron Bowl. That's why Bama's been so dominant lately. Auburn's senior leaders got it done tonight, and they were all the difference. All right, time for another break on College Football Saturday. When we return, we'll go to the other side of the stadium. Art Franklin and the news crew, they've got plenty more with the celebrities who are in town for the game. We'll be right back.
Auburn wins it tonight, 26-14 over Alabama. That's two #1 teams. They have beaten. Auburn's on their way to Atlanta in the SEC Championship. We're heading down the street to the other side of Jordan-Hare Stadium where the party is continuing deep into the night. Art Franklin and the gang with more on this Iron Bowl experience here on CBS 42. Art?
Yeah, the party is continuing. Auburn fans coming by, let me put it the best way. They're just elated about that win, that upset win over Alabama. Not the close wins that we had seen in the past for the Iron Bowl, but all they wanted was to win. The second #1 team that they have taken down here at Jordan-Hare Stadium.
3 weeks, let alone. And you know what? A lot of those Auburn fans are passing behind us going to Toomer's Corner, where I've gotten some reports that it is covered and it looks like snow out there right now.
Yeah, it is. And Lee, they were hollering our ears trying to get on camera because this was such a big win for Auburn.
I mean, you know, normally as a reporter out there in the field, we are trying so hard to get people to come over and talk to us. Everybody wants to be on camera now. Everybody wants to tell us their impression of the game. I'm hearing that we've got a shot of Toomer's Corner that's up right now.
Toomer's Corner is crazy right now.
The energy, I'm sure, is unbelievable.
Electric.
Covered in toilet paper right now, so I know the city crews are going to have fun cleaning that up tomorrow morning. They may even leave it up for a couple of days for the pictures.
Yeah, you talk about the memories here, a number of memories being made here on the field at Jordan-Hare. And for this Iron Bowl 2017, we're also learning about a couple that got a chance to experience something very special at Jordan-Hare.
Yeah, you know, Brees was telling us a little bit earlier, he said that we were going to meet some celebrities, that we were going to talk a little bit about celebrities, and I guess you really feel like a celebrity on the day that she says yes, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, out there on the field?
There was a proposal out on the field tonight, and I must say that I think he made a good choice. There's, in my history, my husband actually proposed to me on a football field as well. So
what's that like? I mean, you're here for the game, and then that proposal just takes that all away.
Mine was a little different. The stadium was empty on that day, so it was even more, I guess, special in that sense. But I tell you what, I can't imagine, because I'm sure the girl felt like the whole entire stadium was probably cheering for her in that moment.
Yeah, you know, earlier it was quiet, and then after the game was over, everyone passing by us, and then we saw a lot of the players' families, it seemed like, because so many people would come by with the same number jersey on as they were all one family.
Oh, yeah, and we just saw that, and we're actually posted up tonight very close to some of the players' tents where they were tailgating, and so I know a lot of the parents are just very proud of their kids, because after all, it's a football game. These are college kids playing, and I know that the parents are very, very excited this evening.
The parents proud, and that happy couple, we've got to say congratulations to them on their engagement.
Absolutely, congrats, and all the fans at Toomer's Corner right now as well.
Elated right now, a big night for Auburn University as they take out another #1 team in the form of the Alabama Crimson Tide. The celebration from Iron Bowl 2017 continues with CBS 42 News. We'll be right back.
It's a scoreboard that they would like to keep in time for a very long time, but they're going to move on to the next game and hope the game with Georgia and the SEC title game is even better of a memory for Auburn. 26-14 over Alabama and the 2017 Iron Bowl. Chris Brees here, live outside the stadium. Chris Wrinkle is inside the stadium. And Albie, the Tiger, he's a pretty happy camper out there, isn't he?
Or at least the cool head back. Yeah, they said get everyone off the field, but this guy somehow is still on the field. So Albie, I want to know, what'd you think of the game tonight? Slow clap, #1. That's what it's on. All right. So Alabama, you guys beat Alabama. What'd you think of Jarrett Stidham and Kerryon Johnson's performances? 2 thumbs, way up, way up. You got Georgia again, another rival. And any worry they're going to come for revenge? No worry at all. No worry at all. They are #1. Okay, so you guys think you can make the playoff and win the national championship? #1. It's right on the jersey, right there. You heard it first from Albie. Auburn should be #1 in his own words. I might be paraphrasing a little bit, but Albie the Tiger joining us here at Jordan-Hare as the celebration continues. Alabama beats Auburn, guys.
He's got to get back to Atlanta next week and get some more dance moves and get those fans pumped up at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. You know, Alabama's rushing attack in that third quarter, it looked like, guys, that we were going to see something from them, that they would start to do the old Bama ways. But it was really only one drive for them.
Just one drive, and that was the problem in the game for Alabama. They relied on Jalen Hurts running the ball, and it's been a problem a little bit throughout the year. Their traditional run game with their running backs and the offensive line blowing everybody off, they've struggled with that all year long, and they rely on Jalen a lot.
Yeah, and they relied on him a lot, more than ever, actually. 17 carries for 80 yards, and it wasn't an impressive 80 yards. The Tide had just 67 rushing yards at the half, and it looked like they came out on fire, like you said, in that first drive, but they never really went back to any of that later in the game.
And here's another problem. The running backs, none of them had more than 6 carries. Bo Scarborough, 6 carries. Jacobs, 6 carries. Damian Harris, 6 carries. Especially in that one drive when Bo Scarborough had so many good read option runs on the edge. Just didn't work the rest of the game.
And that's where credit goes to Kevin Steele and the Auburn defenders. Deshaun Davis, the linebacker, had a really big game, and Kevin Steele designed a plan. I mean, he spent a lot of time, 2 different times in Tuscaloosa with Nick Saban. He knows mentally, philosophy-wise, what Nick Saban wants to do with the run game, and he was able to make Alabama one-handed in the run game.
And Jim, on that note, Nick Saban said after the game, we saw his press conference, that he was happy with the play calling, that he was, quote, fine with it. Other than like 5 or 6 plays that didn't go in their favor, that he was fine with the play calling. So
the Iron Bowl is always determined by the line of scrimmage. Auburn won it on both lines, and I think Bama's defensive line was a little bit disappointed about how that game went, especially guys like Daron Payne.
Oh, he told us that he don't think we played our best game of ball, and now we got to lead a fade up to the other teams. So we're gonna have to see.
That pop pass out of the Wildcat catch you guys off guard?
I think so, but we seen it on film, and that's just one of them things where people just not reading their keys and just playing out of their box.
Anything other than that you guys didn't expect tonight?
No, they came out and did everything we seen on film.
So Alabama awaits its playoff fate. Are they going to get in the top 4? We'll find out. They're done for the regular season. What about other teams in the SEC? Their fates will go around the SEC coming up. And Rachel Lundberg will also join us because she was out there live at Toomer's Corner and gave us a first-hand experience.
She made it back, though, too, and she's alive and with a smile on her face. Can't wait to hear the stories from inside the rolling of Toomer's Corner after the Auburn 26-14 win over Alabama. Back with you on College Football Saturday, the wrap-up show. Auburn a winner 26-14. Rachel Lundberg with us on our north side set here of Jordan-Hare Stadium. You're just back from Toomer's Corner.
Yep.
You asked people up there about 2013 compared to tonight. What'd you learn up there?
They absolutely said that this was nothing like the last one. Like, this was their best experience yet. They're still all down there. I had to get to you guys because there's no service for any miles out in that area. I mean, completely just... It's all covered in white. Even the oaks that aren't supposed to be rolled are rolled. Yeah, we saw some former players that had never thrown before, and they got to throw for the first time. That's the crowd that you're looking at when we were down there. Our camera was basically, anytime it turned, everyone started screaming with us. So it's an excited atmosphere. The electricity that was inside Jordan-Hare Stadium definitely came down to Toomer's.
Rachel, was that your first Toomer's Corner experience, or have you been out there before?
I was a student at Auburn.
Oh my gosh, I didn't do my homework. I didn't do my homework with my own coworker. Okay, so you've been there, you've done that personally.
I remember my first role.
How did this rank for you then?
Well, actually pretty incredible because this is my first Iron Bowl. So being that I am not from Alabama, I always went home for Thanksgiving. Okay. So I was beyond excited definitely to get to have the Iron Bowl experience and to have this kind of finish and be down there for it in the mix. I didn't even know what to do with myself. It was awesome.
So we saw one person get engaged in front of the student section tonight.
Oh.
Did someone get engaged at Toomer's Corner?
2 engagements.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
I asked him, I said, so you're telling me you brought the diamond ring with you? And he said, just in case it was a great outcome.
Oh my God.
And then the now fiance said, it was awesome ending and now it's even better. I'm like, well, no kidding. Show off your bling.
So had Alabama won, would they be going home single still? Like not engaged?
Yeah.
How would that work? I'm just wondering.
Yeah,
Either got to name a kid or a dog Toomer now.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Toomer?
Eagle, war, no, I'm just kidding.
Stidham's not a bad name for a dog. Here's Stidham. Stidham, right?
Run Stidham, good play.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
you
That's
see the
awesome.
crowd down there. We've seen the up top shots. We were watching that live.
Okay.
Just a sea of people. We had that shot earlier, and
Yeah,
just everyone really excited. And now everyone starts to focus on Georgia and then possibly the college football playoffs.
Yep.
How long does the celebration last at Toomerson? As a former student, I know there are watering holes close by that I've been in once or twice myself.
I know Auburn, they close down around 2 a.m. So maybe it'll, supper club's not open anymore.
Oh, is that a shot at my age?
I flew up there
Yeah.
in case you don't know. It's no longer in existence. So they might kind of go to sleep around 2 a.m. Who knows, though? I would be laying in bed excited about this kind of win.
Well, Jim's going to go to Toomer's Corner after this to prove Rachel wrong that he's still a young guy.
Still got it.
TV in
Young
his back
gun.
pocket.
Hey, after this day, I may go to the old supper club location and just sit out there for a little bit.
Safe to say that this game with the TP was a little bit more special than it was 2 weeks ago against Georgia. And those Bulldogs, yeah, they're going to the SEC title. They're going to play Auburn again. So what exactly does Georgia have to play for against Georgia Tech today?
Playoff.
Well, the playoff, obviously, so
Yeah.
that's a big thing. And Sony Michel continues to run wild. 85 yards and a touchdown in this game for him. Jake Fromm, the freshman, they're not going to Jacob Eason. They're sticking with Fromm. And Georgia, number 7, protects its playoff hopes. They beat Georgia Tech in a dominant win, 38-7. At 247 yards rushing, Auburn wants to stop that running attack just like they did 2 weeks ago. Florida Gators and the Florida State Seminoles. Who would have thunk it, Jim, about 2 months ago that this game would be two teams that are never going to go to a bowl this year?
Yeah, 4-6 and 4-6. But Florida State gets a chance coming up next week to play Louisiana Monroe in an add-on game to try to get to 6 wins if they win today.
5th straight year that Florida State tops the Gators. And by the way, guys, this Florida State win ain't going to help Bama beating Florida State by any means.
Yeah,
No,
pretty much.
not at all.
Yeah, sums up Florida's season. 38-22. The Seminoles get the victory there in the non-conference game. All right, more to come on our Iron Bowl special, including Bama's chances in the college football playoff. Are they for real? Can they really get back in this thing? We're going to discuss. You heard Nick Saban lobby for it earlier. It's coming up.
All right, back here on college football Saturday, Auburn gets the big Iron Bowl win, 26-14 the final, and the fans, they're still excited outside Jordan-Hare Stadium, but the question now remains, is Alabama, was there potential of being a college football playoff team? After the game, we heard Nick Saban lobby for why he believes his team deserves a chance to be a top 4 team. Jim, I mean, it's going to be tough looking at the circumstances.
I just don't think it adds up. I mean, you would need an Ohio State win over Wisconsin. Then you need a TCU win over Oklahoma. Then you have TCU, Ohio State, maybe even USC to worry about. I just don't see a path that gets Alabama into the 4-team playoff at all.
And that's assuming Wisconsin loses. If Wisconsin wins, they're done. There's no way they're getting in. You're then looking at Alabama and 3 conference champions who have 2 losses.
Yeah.
Granted, 2 losses to Bama's 1, but LSU's not as good of a win anymore.
Yep.
Mississippi State's not as good of a win anymore.
Yep.
So you're looking at this team who doesn't really have any big wins against 3 teams for 1 spot. It's not realistic, but again, you never know what's going to happen with the committee and the eye test, what they think's going to.
You never know. The rankings will come out Tuesday, but the ones we really care about will come out after the conference championship games. For more on the Iron Bowl, Auburn's big win, let's head out to Chris Wrinkle, who is live on the field. Chris?
Well, coming into this game, we said that one guy above all else had to play well for Alabama to come out of here and beat Auburn's top-ranked defense. That was quarterback Jalen Hurts. At the end of the day, he does not get it done through the air. 174 passing yards. He did throw for a touchdown, but on the ground, 91 rushing yards, probably held on to the ball a little too much, was pressured, able to turn a couple sacks into gains. And at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts just was not able to get it done, was not able to keep up with Auburn's offense and keep Alabama in it. Jalen Hurts, a very somber but understanding guy after the game.
And the unfortunate part about that is it's not in our hands. You win out, you win games, you know you're in. We let one go tonight to a really good Auburn team. And, we'll see what happens from now.
You feel you beat anybody in the country?
What was that?
You beat anybody in the country, obviously. You got to feel like that. Right? When you play the game.
You don't go into a game with the mindset of losing or thought of losing. I've said it before, we hate to lose more than I love to win. That's just a matter of the fact.
So back to the drawing board for Jalen Hurts and that Alabama offense. You have to remember, playoff or not, their season is not over. They still will go to a pretty good bowl game here, as they just now have to wait and see and where they will go and finish their season. Our show is not over. We'll have more from the Iron Bowl coming up after the break.
We're the SEC West champs. I couldn't be prouder of our team. We're going to Atlanta playing for the SEC championship, which before the season, we put ourselves out there and we said that's our goal. And now we're one game away from that being a reality. I mean, of course, we got to win next week, you know, and that's going to be a handful. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, you know, them experts got it figured out. I don't know anybody else played two #1 teams and a #2 team and put our schedule up against anybody. Matter of fact, you probably get two teams and you could combine it, probably close.
Hey, listen, you heard it here first. For Gus Malzahn to win an SEC championship and go to a national championship, you know what has to happen? They have to lose at LSU. That's what happened in 2013. They did it again this year. They beat Alabama again. They're going back to the SEC championship. Back in 2013, they had an easy time at the Georgia Dome. Now it's the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. You'll see the last result there. 3 o'clock next week here on CBS 42. Just always factor in that LSU loss for Gus, and then it's money after that.
They'll take those losses in Baton Rouge, that downpour that they had 5 years ago. It's really hard. We say it all the time, to beat a team twice. I think that's the one thing that Auburn fans really got to be anxious about, because Kirby Smart's a good coach.
Yeah.
He's got some good tutelage from his last head coach. He knows how to game plan, and that may be an issue for Auburn.
That's the thing. Kirby Smart knows how to make adjustments. Guys, this is not going to be another 40-17 affair in Atlanta. Do I think Auburn could come out with a win? Absolutely. Go in with the same game plan to try to shut down that, you know, dual-headed back, running back attack that Georgia has, but I don't think it's going to be some huge blowout. Like you said, Kirby Smart's a smart guy. I'll tell you one thing, though. Auburn, they win and they're in. They lose and they're not. I mean, that's the bottom line. You're not going to put a 3-loss team into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. As we take a look at Toomer's Corner and head to break, it may not be 40-17 next week. It could be 38-13, because so far this Kirby Smart, Nick Saban defense is 0-2 against Kerryon Johnson and Jarrett Stidham this year. A final thought from the toilet paper soaked loveliest village on the plains. Back in a moment.
We knew that was going to happen. You know, it's a lot of leaders over there on the offensive side. And at the beginning of the season, you know, we told them, hey, no matter what happened, we got y'all back. Like, no matter what happened. And that's the mindset we had all year.
Trey, who's playing better than you guys right now? Because we still have a game to play, but who's playing better than the team that's beating two #1s?
Who's playing better than us?
Yeah, right now.
I don't know about anybody else. I just know about Auburn. So I just know Auburn's playing really good football, and we're going to keep it up.
Yeah, it's simple thought right there. That Auburn offensive line been decimated with injuries all year long. 5 different rotations all year long. Darius James is one of 4 seniors who held it together as glue, and they are paving ways for guys like Kerryon Johnson. That offensive line has been the whole difference for them.
This was the Auburn team we expected in August. Then they lose to LSU, and then they're back. So not really a surprise what you saw here tonight. This is what everyone thought Stidham could do when he came to Auburn.
Yeah, they're peaking at the perfect time. I mean, I thought going into this game that Auburn was the better team, and they are better than Alabama. And this is not a fluke win. I mean, this is bottom line. Auburn is one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country right now. At least they're playing like it.
408 yards. That's not fluky.
No, that's not fluky at all.
The Iron Bowl feels like the highlight of the year. It is the highlight of the year, but we still have more football to play next week in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It'll be Auburn in Georgia. Not only a spot in the college football playoff, the SEC title is on the line. Auburn's really hoping to be healthy. We want to thank you for being with us. Art Franklin, Ashley Gann, and Lee Gardner also on the other side of the stadium. Thanks for being with us. We'll be back right here again at 10:30 tonight for college football wrap-up. Hope you enjoyed our show, our coverage all week long. Thanks to our entire crew. Again, we'll see you at 10:30.